You've got questions and we've got answers. Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, answering the questions that new leaders ask us. Actually, it's our goal to help all leaders be more productive, successful, and confident. And speaking of confidence, that's our topic today. We're going to talk about how you can build your leadership confidence. All right, let's go. Here's the question we received. It's a great one. I'm new and I want to do this supervisor role well. How can I build my confidence while I'm learning? Well, it is a great question. Here's the thing. We all need to build confidence when we're learning. And in the rest of our lives, I'm guessing that most of us recognize the importance of confidence, right? And we certainly we recognize the importance of confidence when we look at other people, like our children, our coworkers, the people that work for us. We recognize that confidence is an important part of getting to a high level of productivity. And yet we don't always think about it, about us. So I'm really encouraged by the question because the person's insightful enough to say, hey, I don't have the confidence that I need to ultimately be as successful as I want to be. So it's a great question. So there's lots of things we could talk about in terms of building confidence, but I want to give you some specific ones in a leadership role, especially in a new leadership role, some things that you can do to build your confidence, right? So here's the first one. Reflect on what's working. So if you're in a new job, usually what you're thinking about is you're screwing up. You're driving home at the end of the day and say, man, I screwed that up. That didn't go as well as I wanted it to. Why didn't I do that better? I need to get better at that. There's lessons there for you. You shouldn't lose sight of those necessarily, but I want you to reflect on what's working. Hey, that went pretty well. Hey, I think that is a good approach. Hey, the way I handled that went pretty well. Hey, the way I talked to that person and went through that conversation was pretty successful. I want you to reflect on what's working, because when you recognize that you're not floundering in every area, then your confidence is going to start to build, right? Reflect on what's working. Second is remember your successes. You might even want to think about at the end of every day writing down your success for the week, or writing down your success for the day or successes for the day and keeping that little log. I don't know about you, but pretty much everyone I've ever talked to has a file somewhere, whether it's on their computer, in their desk. At their desk, I've got both of nice things people have sent you, letters you've received, anything like that. And if you've got anything like that, you've probably had a time when you went to that file and read those things to try to kind of get yourself going again, to sort of build your confidence in the moment. So I'm suggesting to remember your successes, and you may want to come up with a way to help you remember them, but I want you to remember your successes. They don't even have to all be in the current job, although the ones about this job are especially helpful. The third thing I want you to do is to polish and hone those successes. There are lessons from those successes that you can apply in other places. And you certainly want to make sure that however good that was, that the next time you do that thing or are in that situation, you do it even a little bit better. So continue to polish, continue to hone, and continue to extend those successes. Now, this has all been pretty positive so far, but the reality is we're new, we're not doing it all right. We've got some things we know that are a problem. We've got some flaws, right? So here's the thing. I want you to focus on one flaw at a time. Flaw may not be the perfect word, but it fit on the screen, right? So focus on one mistake, one flaw, one weakness at a time. I want to take you back for a second to a situation that I bet you were in. You may very well have, at some point in time, learned how to drive a stick shift or a manual transmission car. And if you did, you're going to recognize the story. And if not, you probably still will understand it at some level. There's a bunch of steps that you have to take when you're doing the manual transmission, right? You've got a clutch, and you've got a brake, and you've got an accelerator, and you've got the shifter, and you got all these things that you need to be doing. You need to do all these steps in exactly the right order, in exactly the right way in order for the car to go smoothly forward. And when you were first learning, it didn't go so well. The car was jerking, your mom was freaked out, you stalled the car, it rolled backwards, you did all sorts of things. And you said to yourself, I'll never get this. And what you did was you worked on one of those things at a time. If we try to fix all of our mistakes or flaws at once as a leader, I got to fix all these things, it's going to be like when you started to drive that car. It's going to be jerky, bumpy, and not successful. But after you'd been driving that car for 3 or 4 weeks and had it down, you could shift, you could wave out the window and change the radio all at the same time, and the car just went perfectly. So you get to the point where those things get better, they move into a better habit, they become successes, and you can move on to the next thing. One flaw at a time. And the last thing I have for you is I want you to be the tortoise. Be the tortoise? Well, you all know the fable of the tortoise and the hare, right? And the hare's going to win, so the hare takes off. Like, I had no trouble beating the tortoise. Takes off, ends up taking the snooze, ends up not beating the tortoise. The tortoise wins. Why? Slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to be confident in every part of your job right off the bat. It's not possible. If you really are, you're probably in denial. Be the tortoise. Slow and steady. Think long term. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a break. Keep working. Reflect on successes. Focus on those successes, learn from those successes, and one weakness, one flaw, one mistake at a time. If you do that, you're heading in the right direction. Your confidence will soar, your productivity will soar, and your ultimate success for you and your team will soar. Let's close with today's tweet. Confidence can build slow and steady, like the tortoise who wins the race. Now, I hope my answer to this question today was useful to you, and I hope that you take seriously the challenge of building your confidence wherever you are in your leadership journey. Now, on this site, there's a lot of things to help anyone in their leadership journey, but especially if you are a new leader at FromBudToBoss.com, I hope you'll take advantage of all of the free resources we have here, and there are a bunch. Hope you'll do that. And you may find that you want some additional help, that we can help you with some of the other resources that you could pay us for. We'd love that as well. We certainly want you to take advantage of the resources here to help you in your transition from bud to boss. New leaders encounter many difficult and often uncomfortable challenges and changes during their initial transition to leadership. Perhaps it's two employees who are constantly bickering and it's starting to affect their work. As their coworker, maybe you could ignore it, but now you're their supervisor. Or maybe a new direct report has way more experience than you do and is pushing back on some of your task assignment and delegation attempts. Or perhaps there are supervisory responsibilities that you just don't know how to handle. Making the transition to leadership is one of the most challenging life events we'll ever face. And while there's no doubt that this transition is extremely challenging, there are solutions that can help ease the stress and set you up for success now and in the future. Bud to Boss is a powerful and interactive workshop for new supervisors who want to grow their leadership skills fast. In just 2 days, you'll learn how to expertly handle all of your new challenges, including how do I get a better understanding of my new role and responsibilities? How do I gain respect, trust, and credibility in my new role? What is the best way to communicate about difficult issues? How do I really lead a team? How do I do performance reviews? How can I manage my time and juggle an ever-changing list of priorities? How do I communicate with new peers that have way more experience than I do? What's the best way to delegate effectively? And lots more. Don't risk your career by stumbling along at the start, learning through trial and error. Get the essential management and leadership techniques and strategies you need to succeed with the Bud to Boss workshop. Click on the button below to learn more. The skills you need to succeed are one click away.